Okay, so what I wanted to do in this video is I want to talk about obviously the golf swing, but also an exercise, and what you're going to see out of this is the progression of how you go from something as invasive and as bulky as this into utilising just 4 tees, but you'll really see the merit and the benefit of doing so as the video carries on. So I meet different students for different reasons that they reach out for help, but what often happens, and this should maybe relate to yourselves, is real inconsistency. So if you're really inconsistent, so that means poor contact, bad direction, whether it's topping the golf ball, then what's happening is that we're getting a little bit sort of too many moving parts. And I think the basic things to understand, this is what I often find in golf lessons, is to understand swing plane and to understand club path. Because if you can get a bit of continuity with your swing plane and a bit more continuity with your club path, you'll generally find that your club face will evolve upon those two things. So let's get started. So what our swing plane basically means is going to be representative of the yellow alignment stick that's in the bucket. So as I take the club back, get it set up here, can you see the way my club shaft stays pretty parallel relative to this? So it's not kind of moving excessively out in this direction, it's not moving too much in this direction. So I'd sort of take it back like so it lives very close towards this original alignment stick, which is angled relative to the 9-iron that I'm holding here. So then as I swing up to the top, obviously I can't get my arms still on this line, but the club shaft will run parallel to it. And then as I come down, you want to get the feeling of bringing it back down this line. And then if I had another alignment stick on the other side, I would swing through again with that club continuing in that angle, and that would be having a good swing plane. So what you want to avoid is having the club swing plane move too much out this way, across and across the golf ball, and you don't want to be swinging too much this way inside and too much to the right-handed golf, but too much to the right, because what will happen is if you're doing that, you're never going to be able to control your club path. So having had that discussion, let's remove that one, and then that leaves us with just an alignment stick and also my Wedge Pro, which I positioned opposite the ball. Now the Wedge Pro, the reason why I like it is because it's about a foot in length, so it's not quite a short thing that you can take with you to the practice area, but also it's higher than the golf ball itself, okay? So that's good as well. So I've got this little object now, my Wedge Pro, which is opposite the ball, about an inch or so away from the original position of my setup. And again, you can just make some practice swings, just imagining those swing planes were there, and as I swing back and through, just trying to encourage a very neutral club path like so, and just trying to get that same sort of feeling. And all of a sudden what will start to happen is if you sort of notice that somebody swings too much this way or too much this way, then those feelings will start to hopefully evaporate. So by just concentrating on this little impact area can actually influence the whole shape of your golf swing. So obviously what you would then do is you'd evolve it. So when you next go down to the driving range, what you're going to do is you're going to ensure that you get your alignment. So you're going to use this one to align towards your target. So if I choose just this 100-yard marker in front of me here, I'll line that up there. Your golf ball is going to go in a position where it's got to be obviously ahead of the alignment stick. So if I drop that back a little bit like so. And now what we're going to do is with these tees are quite long, okay? Now you don't necessarily even need to use tees, but you can see the length of these. So you want to try and buy the longest tees that you possibly can. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to set them up in such a way where they are angled, so it makes us mindful of not only our club path, but also our swing plane. So I've now got this little area here where I'm just going to be concentrating on sort of 6 inches prior to 6 inches post impact. And the feeling that I'm going to have in that area is just that the club head is travelling in a pretty straight line. I'm going to try and keep the club face as square to that as I possibly can. So I'm kind of trying to reduce those sort of mistakes. But what I've also done is I've just sort of tilted the tees, again angled in such a way where it represents our swing plane. And that just keeps me mindful of what I'm trying to do, and it makes me mindful that I'm not trying to get just the club moving through in this way, I'm trying to get that club shaft under control, and by just having them visually tilted in such a way should just remind you of exactly what it is that you're doing and remind you of some of those feelings of what you practiced. So golf is always about obviously understanding what is causing the inconsistency. For golfers that are inconsistent, the swing plane is normally off, either excessively across the ball or excessively under the ball. This then lends to inconsistency with your club path, therefore lends inconsistency to your club face. So what we've done is we've just created an environment where you can do some swings at home, heighten your awareness for what it would feel like to swing on plane. Then get rid of that and just try and get that same feeling, but also try and navigate that club path. And then get rid of that and transfer it into something like so. And then if you're successful, which means you can hit shots without hitting any of those tee pegs, then that sort of means then you're going to be ready to transfer those same sort of feelings onto the golf course. And it's just understanding going from these big steps, so these sort of chunky conscious drills, and then trimming it down to something which is much lighter, makes that whole transition of understanding your swing so much easier. So I think this sort of drill is an absolute must. It's definitely something that you want to be practicing, particularly if you're noticing huge inconsistency in your game. Let me know how you get on.